Alright, what's up guys? So sorry it's been a while since I did a video. Things got a little busy in Greece, but now I'm out of the Navy and I'm back home in Texas and I got a couple updates. I'll update y'all fully in a separate video about all the stuff with the Clio, but for now I have a little bit of an update. So the Tahoe is still running great. The only issue is that the old 4L60 lost third gear, so really I can't drive it more than 45 miles an hour, so it's fine around town, and luckily one of the trails around here I don't have to get that fast to go on that trail, but that's where that's at now. I plan to get that transmission rebuilt, but right now it's sitting back here. I drive it every now and then, make sure it's not having any issues. So this is going to be one of the bigger projects on this channel. I've already got a full plan to restore the Blazer. It's already got a new engine, but the old throttle body injection is really not working out with the L31 roller. It's got a crate engine of the same engine that's in here, but we're having issues with the throttle body injection, so probably go with Flatout, something like that. And I have a lot of stuff planned for that, so don't worry, that will get a lot of coverage on the channel. And also the Sierra is still doing great. No issues there. I just recently got a job that's about 50-mile round trip drive from my house, and this is not going to be very good on gas, so I did end up getting a new car for a daily and doing rallycross in, because I haven't done that in 6 years. So I'll probably just drive this one on weekends or drive it to work on Friday, something like that, but plan to keep the miles off of it. So before it had no cats, no mufflers, just a straight pipe 3-inch dump at the axle, and now it's got the side exit pipes. So I did that because I have an axle flip sitting in the garage over here that I will get started on in the next week or so. I've got all that stuff sitting here for that. I got the QA1 flip kit and I've got a McGoffey's C-notch, so I'll get a video on that here, probably the next video, honestly. Now the reason for today's video is the new project car, the daily, the rally car. I hope y'all actually like it. I think it's pretty cool. Here it is. So it's an 07 Yaris. It's got the 5-speed manual. It's a little dirty right now. I'm gonna clean it up. Honestly, it's not bad at all. Nothing wrong with it. AC works. It's gonna be the perfect daily. It does have 265,000 miles, but it's a Yaris, so that's really not that bad for the Yaris. So I got this car for $2,300. Really, I mean, what do you expect for $2,300? It's got a little clear coat flaking off here, a little fading on the bumper, a couple dents and dings here, nothing too bad, nothing that can't be fixed, but I'm gonna clean it up, I'm gonna make it nice, and I'm gonna use it for rally. So for today's video, I'll show y'all what I plan to do. One of the major flaws with the Yaris is that it doesn't have a tachometer, and when I'm doing heel toe downshifts, it gets kind of annoying not knowing where in the rev range you are, especially when you can't even hear the engine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install a tachometer. I picked up this cheap Tachometer Tach right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount it right up here, because I had thought that I was getting one that had the ring where I could just mount it on the dash, screw it in, and it would be fine, but no, it's not the case. I'm gonna have to mount this with a little bracket right there, screw into the dash, and put it right there. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little bit more than I was wanting, but it's gonna end up being perfect. It'll give me what I need, and when I'm doing rally, I'm definitely gonna need the tachometer, and I'm also gonna get another set of gauges because we don't have any other gauges other than speedometer here. There is an oil light, there's a water temp light, and a couple other lights up here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a water temp gauge, I'm gonna get an oil pressure gauge, and possibly like an oil temp gauge for the little panel right here, and that'll give me enough to know what the car is doing. But before we get started on this install, I need to run to the parts store, get an add a fuse for the 12 volt and the illumination wires, and then I need to get some crimp connectors to connect this to a ground. I don't think these wires are gonna be long enough either, so I might have to extend these wires a bit. So before I run to the store, I wanted to pop this tachometer open real quick because I do need to change some dip switches for it to run properly on a 4-cylinder. So let's get into that. So as you can see right here, these little dip switches, they both need to be down, and right now they're both up in the configuration for an 8-cylinder. So I'm just gonna get a small screwdriver and I'm gonna pop both of these down so they can be in the 4-cylinder configuration. There we go, simple as that. Then we'll just pop the rear cover back on, set the screw, tighten it down, and we're good to go. So really quick, I'm packing up stuff for the camera right now, but I think I'm gonna do one of the other things I plan to do first. So I can't hear the engine at all, and I've seen some good videos online, and this 1.5 Yaris honestly doesn't even sound that bad with a rear muffler delete. And right now the welder is down at my shop, so I'm gonna go to an exhaust shop. I'm gonna have them cut off the rear muffler and install a little tailpipe for me. So maybe like $40, but we'll see how it sounds. All right, so I'm back from the auto parts store, and I also got my exhaust installed. It was only $65, which isn't bad. They just chopped off the old muffler, put a tailpipe in its place, and I'll show you how that sounds. I'll show you what it looks like first. So that's basically it. I mean, they just chopped it, welded in the new pipe, put a hanger. That's how it looks on the exit. Doesn't look perfect. I mean, it was just cheap, so needed a little bit of sound and gave me that. So for $65, it doesn't even sound that bad. Probably sounds a little loud on the video because of the audio, but it's really not super loud, not super drony. Just a little bit of drone, lower RPMs if I'm lugging a little bit, but it's honestly not bad at all, and I can hear the exhaust. So now it's time to get into this. All right, so it's pretty hot here in Texas. I'm just gonna have the engine running while I'm doing this until I get to the actual wiring. I'm just gonna have it running while I'm routing the wires. Once I start wiring, I'll shut it off. All right, so I'm just gonna get it placed where I want first. All right, so I got the little bolt put in here so I can kind of angle it a little better. I think this is my best option right there. Maybe a little bit. I'd say that's pretty perfect right there. I'm gonna get a Sharpie and I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna mark these holes here. Now I won't even be able to mark them. I'm just gonna do a little line right there and a little line right there so I can line it up perfectly again. I'm gonna take this mounting bracket back off and we're gonna screw the mount in. I'm gonna make sure it lines up exactly how I want it. So just like that. And I have these self tappers here, which I'll use to screw into the dash. So I got that side marked up. Clean that off a little bit. All right, so I got my rubbing alcohol and I'm gonna clean that little mark off there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place that there and we'll screw this screw all the way in. And once I have this screw in, we'll verify it's the angle that I'd like it to be and make any final adjustments. Maybe just slightly over that way a little bit. And I'd say that's good right there. Pull that out and we will screw this other one in. We've got our bracket mounted. We can go ahead and get our bolt for the tack. Okay, so now I'm gonna sit back. We're gonna angle it slightly up, about like that. There we go. And now we have our tachometer mounted. It's not clocked to where I would like it yet, but that will come very shortly. I just need to route these wires here down into this little box. Might as well show you how to take that off. This is just pull and kind of pull up. And it's got these two pins right here that align with right here and right there. And this is the fuse box down there. I got some electrical tape. We're gonna wrap these wires, then we will route them and install them. So I'm just gonna cut this little label here off because I don't need that anymore. Basically what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna hold these wires out like this and I'm just gonna start wrapping them. All right, so now I got the wires wrapped and protected right here. Basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pry this panel back a little bit and we're gonna feed the wires down and I'll fish them out under the dash. We'll grab our screwdriver and then just fish it down. And hopefully I can see it coming from the bottom. Okay, yeah, so I can see it. It's a little ways up there. I'm just gonna reach my hand up into the dash and see if I can grab it. And I can bring the wire down, and perfect, we have access to our wires now. All right, so I'll show you down here. We have our wires coming down here, and so we're gonna have to ground this wire. The green will be our Tach signal, and I believe red is 12 volt, white is illumination, but I think I'm gonna run this illuminated 100% of the time because I only have one mini low profile add a fuse. So until I get another one, well, that's just how we're gonna run it. So I'll probably run it through the cigarette lighter. All right, so this is where it starts being not so fun because I gotta turn the car off and I gotta turn the AC off. So it's gonna start sweating here. But first wire I'm gonna do the ground. I'm gonna crimp this connector to the black wire, and there should be a bolt down there connected to the fuse box that I can undo, hook this up, and that'll be a great ground for it. I've got the ground installed. So I have the fuse box cover taken off right here. I'm gonna check a few of them. I'm gonna see which ones are key on 12 volts, and that's the one we will go with. I just checked, and it said the cigarette lighter is a switched 12 volt source. So check this out. We have our lighter right there. Plug in, switch, light comes on. That confirms it. So now I just have to get the white and the red wire connected to the cigarette lighter fuse through my mini low profile add a fuse. So we'll open that up. I'm gonna have to extend the wires just slightly, and I'm gonna have to get into an awkward position here to get under to the fuse panel because it's in a horrible location. Your cigarette lighter is fuse number 23. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my two wires here connected with a crimp connector together. And we have these two connected together. Now I just have to see if this wire is gonna be long enough. If anything, I'm just gonna have to run just a small little section of wire. We have to pull fuse 23. I wanna see if they suggest how many amperage. 3 amp automotive fuse. Of course, this does not come with fuses in it. I didn't even think of that. So what we're gonna do is use the cigarette lighter fuse until we get to that point. So I'm gonna go grab my needle nose pliers, pull that out. So it said 23. I see it right here. It's that 15 amp right there. Yank it out, grab our add a fuse, plug that into there, and plug it in back in the slot. It turns out I didn't even need that crimp connector, so I'm just gonna cut it short right here. Strip the wires again. There we go. Twist each one, then twist together. Now we have our add a fuse crimp connector right here. Now we can see if it'll turn on with the key on. Nothing. And there is a chance that I possibly installed the fuse wrong. And not to mention there was ACC right next to it, which I could pull out. So I'm gonna pull that ACC fuse. And looky there. Got power to our gauge. Now all I need is the tachometer signal, and we'll get that now. All right, so after looking online, it appears that this little yellow wire that already has a tap on it is our Tach signal right here. So someone might have already installed the Tach in here before, but I'm just gonna tap into that for the green wire right here, and we'll use that as our Tach signal. If it doesn't work, I'll find another way, but as of right now, that is our Tach signal, and that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I gotta get my tap connectors. These are pretty useful. They're not the greatest connectors. This car is just a little bit of a beater, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach this to this yellow wire right here. Now I'm gonna clamp it around there and make sure that it's oriented the way that I want it to be. It's not. So gotta pull it back out and we'll orient it this way. There we go. We've oriented it that way now, and we'll just put our Tach signal wire in there. And as I'm holding this, I gotta get my pliers and make sure everything is in there. Crimp it down, and that should be our Tach signal right there. All right, so if all went successfully, we will have a working tachometer. Got our power. And we do not have a working tachometer right now. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pry open this splice connector, and we'll see if it actually made contact on that green side, because that was a thin wire and I might have to do something else for that. There we go. So now we just pry it back open again, and we'll look in there, see if it even spliced it, and it appears that it did not. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna pull this splice connector off. Yeah, it's not making a good connection. So that's what the issue was right there. So we'll pull that off. So I'm gonna get another one of these. Gonna get a thicker gauge wire. We're gonna crimp this into here. Get a very small section of 16 gauge wire, and then we'll try it again after crimping cramping again. We got our connection there. I'm gonna grab a small section of this wire that I bought, and I'll do no more than like a couple inches, and cut that section. So we have our wire that's going to be spliced right here. That'll connect right there. What we're gonna have to do is pull this splice connection back out, reset it, which isn't too difficult to reset. You can just grab it kind of at an angle like that, pop it back out. Then we place it around our signal wire again, and then we splice again. I'm gonna try to get it as close as possible to the original splice that I had just done. And now we should have a Tach signal. We have our power. There we go. We have a working Tach. So as I'm cleaning out the car, I'll just kind of go through a couple things here. This car has a lot of miles and the suspension is pretty worn. It has a lot of clunks. It definitely needs new shocks, needs new bushings. So I'm gonna do a whole suspension overhaul on it, get it ready for rallycross. I will hopefully be able to make it to some rallycross events before the end of the year, just to kind of test the car out more than points chasing. But hopefully by 2026, I'll be able to run the full season of Lone Star Rallycross from beginning of the year to the end of the year. All the points races that I can get to, hopefully get some sponsors. That'd be pretty cool. At the moment, I just need some shocks on it, so I'm gonna get some of the Coney STRT oranges and maybe like a 1-inch lowering spring, something like that. But I'm really hoping to do pretty well with this car in Rallycross. I mean, it's light. It has enough power for at least stock class, but I'm kind of shooting toward more mod 2-wheel drive. I'll probably start at the end of this season, the 2025 season. If I can go to some events, I'll start in stock 2-wheel drive. But the goal for this car for now is mod 2. And we'll just start the build slowly, replacing a little bit here and there. By the end of it, I would like this car to be competitive in mod 2 for Lone Star Rallycross and possibly SCCA, North Texas Rallycross. The only thing about North Texas Rallycross is they haven't posted in, I think, since like 2023. And I'm not exactly sure if they're still functioning. Their website's still up, so I'm assuming they're still functioning, but you never know. I'll probably reach out to them because North Texas Rallycross would be a lot easier to get into for me because I'm up in Dallas and Lone Star Rallycross is down in Austin. That's a 4-hour drive every month at the minimum, so we'll just see what goes on from there. But yeah, I hope y'all like this video of the Tach install on the Yaris. Y'all are gonna be seeing a lot more of this car and a lot more of all the cars around here, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.